So now that we've created our domain on node B or demo B, let's go ahead and configure Node Manager for demo B. So under domain home, let's go under Node Manager and edit the node manager.properties file. And let's go ahead and change the listen address to demo B. We also need to change the port. So the listen port needs to be something different, and that's because we're going to have another node manager running on this server, and it's already running on 5556. So go ahead and change this to 5557. Save the file and exit out. And go ahead and start the node manager for demo B. So back up in the domain home for demo B. Let's go in the bin directory and run the start node manager script. Okay. So we now have node manager running on demo B on 5557. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up another terminal window. And let's start the node manager for demo A. And so that's going to be under our original domain home, which is under U01 Udemy domains WL server bin. So go ahead and start node manager. And this is our demo A node manager. Okay, and you can see that down here. So secure socket listener started on port 5556, host demo A. All right, so we've got node manager running on demo A and demo B. Now let's go ahead and log into the admin. Oh, now we need to start the admin server. So open up yet another terminal window. And we're just going to start this admin server by hand. So run the start WebLogic script in your original domain home bin directory. Okay, so now that the admin server is up and running, let's go ahead and log into the admin console. And we can go ahead and actually use the demo A hostname. Okay, let's go ahead and continue and accept the certificate. Okay. Login is WebLogic. Sure, we'll save the password. Okay, so once we are in the console, let's go ahead and just verify our configuration for the machine. So under environment, go ahead and click on machines and click on machine B. And then click on the node manager subtab and modify the listen address to use demo B. And then change the port number to use 5557. So recall machine B represents the demo B host. And then click save. And then click on the servers tab. And note that there are no servers associated with this machine. So let's go ahead and click add. And let's add MS3 to this machine. And then click next. Okay, so we have MS3 now associated with machine B. Go back to machines again and click on machine A. And then click on node manager. And then update the listen address to be demo A. Click save. Then click on the servers tab. And verify, yep, we have MS1 and MS2 on machine A. Okay, so let's go ahead and start manage server 3 now. So under environment, click on servers. Let's go to the control tab and then check the box for manage server 3 and click start. Okay, so take a look at what happened here. We've got an error message saying that manage server 3, that the node manager associated with that machine, machine B, is not reachable. So I wonder why this is. So we've got the admin server, and the admin server communicates to the node manager on machine B. However, WebLogic is telling us that it's unable to reach machine B. So I know why this is, so let me show you what's happening here. And this is very specific to our environment, or to my environment actually, and I'm sure that you'll come across this in your environment. So go ahead and minimize the browser and take a look at the console window for the admin server. You're going to see a slew of certificate chain received from demo A, failed hostname verification check. Then after that it says the certificate contained, and it's going to be the hostname, the actual hostname of your machine that you're working on. So in my case, the name of my machine is Bugatti. So the certificate contained Bugatti, but the check expected demo A. What this is saying is that the admin server made a request to Node Manager using demo A as its hostname, as the admin server hostname. So, however, for some reason, when we're using the demo certs, so the demo identity within WebLogic, demo identity defaults its identity to the first hostname entry in your hosts file. And so in this case, when we updated our hosts file, we kind of defined demo A and demo B at the very end of the file. Now we could move them up so it's the first hostname that WebLogic will read or understand. However, that only helps us for demo A, it won't help us for demo B. So we can't have two separate, hosts files here. So the way to get around this is that we can disable hostname verification. Now in a production environment, you don't want to do that. Hostname verification verifies that the hostname of the requester matches the identity in the certificate. So given that we're working in a very limited environment on one actual machine, let's disable hostname verification so we can get past this error message. Because right now WebLogic is rejecting any requests. And you can see here that cert chains have been received from demo A, from demo A and demo B. And since hostname verification is enabled, these two machines can't talk to one another, because the hostname is not lining up with what's in the demo identity. So let's go ahead and change that to make this work. And what we can do is we need to disable hostname verification for the admin server and any of the managed servers that we want to start. So go ahead and bring up your browser again and click on the admin server, and then on the SSL tab under Advanced, you'll see that there's a hostname verification attribute, and the default is this BEA hostname verifier. This basically means that WebLogic will do hostname verification. And hostname verification involves taking a look at an identity and a certificate and mapping that to the actual hostname of the server or the requester. So select None in the drop-down list, and this will turn that hostname verification off, and click Save. Now go ahead and repeat this for all your other WebLogic servers. Okay, so now that we've disabled hostname verification, even though the console is telling us that no restarts are necessary, you actually have to restart the admin server in order for the change to be picked up. For some reason, the network channel is not reset. If we were to try to start any of the managed servers right now, we would get the same error message, and we would continue to see that invalid cert chain in the server output. So let's go back to the console window, terminal window, and kill the admin server. Go ahead and restart it. And if any of your managed servers are running, make sure that they're stopped too. Okay, so once the admin server is up and running, let's log back into the console. Okay, now that we're back in the console, let's try starting these servers again. So under Environment and Servers, let's start MS3, which is on our remote machine. Whoops, click on the Control tab, and then check the box for MS3 and click Start. Now we see a positive message. We see that a request has been sent to the node manager, which is running on machine B. And that node manager on machine B will start up MS3. And we can take a look at this by bringing up the terminal window for the node manager on machine B. And I believe it is this tab. So we can see here, we scroll down. So the only thing that we see is this one message right here that the server MS3 is running now. So let's go back to the admin console and refresh this page. And so now MS3 is running. So that's awesome. So we've got Node Manager running. So we've simulated two different machines here, machine A and machine B. And we used host entries to simulate two different network addresses, demo A and demo B, even though they resolved to the same IP address. And we then created a separate domain directory structure on demo B. And then we used a managed server template to support running MS3 on a remote server. So now that we've completed that, let's go ahead and I want to show you something on the file system. So go back to a terminal window and bring up a new window. And let's take a look at some of the properties around starting MS3 using Node Manager. So let's go to our demo B domain home or domain root. So under U01, Udemy, demo B. Then inside demo B, go to the domains directory and then WL server. And if you recall, when we created managed servers in one of the earlier labs, we had to define a boot.properties file in order for the managed servers to boot without prompting us for a username and password. We never did that for MS3. MS3 started up just fine without us having to create a boot.properties file or to manually enter in a credential. So if we take a look at the servers directory for MS3, under the security directory should be a boot.properties file, and there's nothing here. So what ends up happening is that when we use Node Manager to start up a managed server, Node Manager generates a startup properties and a boot.properties for that managed server. However, it doesn't store them under security. It stores that stuff under the server's data directory. And inside the data directory, you're going to see a Node Manager directory. And inside that, you're going to have a boot.properties file and a startup.properties file. So go ahead and take a look at both of those. So here's the boot.properties file, which in this case also includes a trust key store entry, and we're using demo trust and then password and username. The order doesn't really matter. WebLogic just looks for the property and not the order. And you can see that they're encrypted. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the startup.properties file. And so this startup.properties file defines arguments for starting up that server. So you can see here that when we disabled hostname verification, WebLogic stuck an entry, actually Node Manager stuck an entry into this property file. So when you disable hostname verification from the console, really that translates to a JVM argument, and that's that -D WebLogic security SSL ignore hostname verification equals true. These startup parameters are specific to how Node Manager manages this server. This is not where you specify, class path or other JVM arguments. So you can see here, for example, that we've got the admin URL defined, so we know how to connect to the admin server. And then these other properties here are specific to log files associated with Node Manager starting this server. Another property of interest is this auto restart equals true. So if this server fails for whatever reason, Node Manager will automatically restart it. And to accompany that, there's this restart max property. So Node Manager will make at most 2 attempts to restart this server before it marks it as failed. And you can also specify a delay between restarts. And here it's 0 seconds, so Node Manager will not wait. That's really it to scaling out WebLogic managed servers to remote machines and configuring Node Manager. So I hope you found this lab useful in understanding how we can scale out domains using templates. Now, I do want to go back to the whole SSL issue here. If we had access to two machines, be it virtual or physical, we would have done this slightly different, but the process is generally the same. You create a managed server template and you copy that out to a remote server, and then you run the unpack command to deploy that managed server template on that remote server. So the process is nearly the same here. Where we deviated was when we had the disable hostname verification, and that was because we were using demo certs. Now, we could have created a single self-signed cert and still had hostname verification enabled. But for the purposes of this lab, generating self-signed certs and trust and identity key stores is a bit out of scope. And so that concludes this lab. The next lesson in lab will be on WebLogic scripting tool.